Hi, I'm Dante Disparte, and this is TRM Talks. I've always wanted to say that.
Amazing. I love the flipping the script. This is awesome. Dante, all we've talked about in 2025 is stablecoins. It's been a huge year for Circle. It's been a huge year for the ecosystem. When I thought about doing a retrospective on 2025, I immediately thought I have to bring Dante, one of my closest friends in the space, on. But talk to me about 2025 for Circle, for the ecosystem, for you personally.
Look, 25 has just been nothing short of an exceptional year. It is great to be on, and I know this is sort of a little bit of a special edition of TRM Talks where I get to pretend I'm you, even if for a very short amount of time. But it's been nothing short of an exceptional year. I mean, from the very beginning, very early on, the appointment of a crypto and AI czar in David Sachs. You saw the White House effectively issue an executive order, and in rapid succession, one policy development after another has finally translated into the passage of this landmark law, the Genius Act, which is, in my opinion, bigger than stablecoins. In some respects, it's a total upgrade of the American banking and payment system. And one of the fascinating ironies of the Genius Act, of course, is that, as it turns out, the future of money in banking may very well be banking, because the queue of companies lining up to get, be it a trust charter, or even we saw recently companies pursuing a fully licensed banking strategy as an extension of their payments activities in the US. And so it's fascinating. And the thing I've most cared about, Ari, is this broader dollar competitiveness question. And now what we're showing at the end of 2025 is that the United States is in the game. And one really important global diplomacy message to send is that while the Genius Act is an America First law, it's not an America Alone law. And there's a lot of principles of reciprocity and harmonization that are built into that, so that in 26, when you and I are doing a world tour again, we get to carry that message too to regulatory counterparties around the world.
No, it's really exciting. And what's cool to see is that you have the combination of what happened on Capitol Hill this year, namely Genius, but then also you mentioned the White House, right? We got a 160 plus page report, the most detailed ever on cryptocurrency. But I think the most important thing it did is it also said to the regulators, hey, don't wait for market structure. Go ahead and start providing clarity to this industry. And that's when we saw SEC crypto task forces and CFTC crypto sprints. We saw the US Treasury lean in large part, having written the report. So I think what's cool is you're seeing what's happening in the legislative branch, you're seeing what's happening in the executive branch really simultaneously. And I imagine we'll get market structure likely looking like, early to mid next year at this point. But regardless, in large part, it doesn't matter, at least right now, because we're seeing all of this really terrific regulatory action. Do you agree with that take?
Yeah, look, first of all, totally true that I've always said before that although America doesn't do grand legislative bargains, we rather take a piecemeal and principled approach, which is what the Genius Act is. But it is a very durable law because of how bipartisan it is. And you see that the regulators are wasting no time in the rulemaking and in translating the Genius Act from guidance to operating principles for regulated entities. But at the same time, it's a total de facto crypto market structure law as well, because by categorizing regulated payments, stablecoins as a corner of the market, gone are the days where the industry was told and the end users and the consumers were told, everything in crypto might be a security, you figure out what is not. Those days are over. And the other one I think that's really important and powerful is that in the void of policy, people are policy. And you've seen this across agencies here in Washington and around the US generally, a lot of the leadership level changes and the release of that pent up energy in the market, again, not abandoning rules-based innovation in America, but you've just seen this really, really big push towards responsible innovation in the country, which is a welcome change.
It's absolutely extraordinary. All right, we're going to move from 2025 to New Year's resolutions, because I know you've already committed to the TRM running club for 2026. So we have that resolution. Tell me about what are you looking towards in 2026?
Yeah, no, first of all, I'm not sure if I'll be in the running club. I'll be bringing up the rear. You'll be the guy at the very front of the line, and I'll be in the back. But I think 26 is going to be an interesting year for sure, right? Number one, we have a really big opportunity with crypto market structure legislation. The over and under here, I think, is a Q1. Members of Congress, the Senate, and others have sort of pushed to make sure that this remains bipartisan and that we address the other side of the regulatory swim lanes for crypto asset activities in the U.S. And so I'm in the Q1 camp for crypto market structure advancements, and to do so in a similar bipartisan basis as we've done with the Genius Act. I'd ask you the same question.
Yeah, no,
either
I
resolutions or predictions for 26. Less running.
definitely not less running faster likely in all aspects of my life. But I'll say, let me talk market structure real quick too. And I do agree with you on the Q1 take. And I'd say from a resolution standpoint for me and for TRM, it's really engaging in early January with policymakers to really have them understand how we can leverage technology in order to mitigate risk. I think that oftentimes they're caught up in sort of you're seeing illicit activity occur, but illicit activity is occurring in any robust financial system. And as the ecosystem grows, we're going to see more illicit activity. But we also have the tools to combat it in ways we never could in the traditional world, the tracking, the tracing, the investigating. So I'd say that like from a New Year's resolution, really excited for market structure and really want to be at the forefront of educating members on how we actually use technology to mitigate risk. I am very committed to that. In terms of like predictions, not the biggest crystal ball guy, but I thought it was really interesting. There was a privacy roundtable this week at the SEC. And today, on the heels of that, DTCC announces working with the Canton Network. I think privacy is going to be a really important word in 2026 as we have more and more people transacting on open public blockchains. They're going to want more privacy, not less, and should have it. I am a very big proponent of people being able to enact safely and privately. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to really lean into technology, blockchain intelligence, zero knowledge proofs to allow this. And I love the fact that the SEC is out front kind of talking about what I think is going to be a major, major conversation point in 26. Are you with me there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, privacy, first of all, is a cornerstone. We have to abandon the concept that privacy in your financial life is somehow a bug and not a feature. I think it enshrines Western values, democratic values, and the notion of an air gap between the issuer of digital money, that money, and how you spend it. I think that air gap is a critical feature, not a bug. So I'm glad you mentioned privacy. It's a cornerstone for us for example, the ARC blockchain project that we're leading here at Circle and many other endeavors. The only other thing I would add in terms of potential predictions for 2026, and it was a muted statement, but President Macron of France, basically, in addition to calling for the advancements of the digital euro project from the European Central Bank, has also made a call for a growing demand for euro-denominated stablecoins, which is incredibly encouraging because I want these markets that we're all in to be just that, global, integrated, universally available forms of digital money and corresponding financial services. And the more we have leaders like Macron, like President Trump, and like others calling for this to be a joined up, harmonized domain, the better. My fear, of course, would be that if the digital asset environment becomes balkanized like the internet itself, that would be a problem. And so the more we see political leaders like Macron, like President Trump, and like other leaders making that call and seeing the opportunity here, that to me is incredibly encouraging, and 26 could be a breakthrough year for that very call.
I love Mr. Worldwide for sure. No, I love that you went global here. We both have the haircut, so we can we can do our best pit bull. I do love that. I was in Brussels a couple weeks ago, and I heard the EU commissioner say that DLT and blockchain technology is the operating system for financial markets. Mm-hmm. I almost fell out of my seat. Mm-hmm. And I think that like we may be exporting some of our crypto rhetoric right now as well, which I kind of love, right? But I think we are seeing this really global moment. And I think in large part, they're seeing what the US is doing, moving very, very quickly, and understanding that if you want to lead in this space, you have to really lean into innovation and innovators. So they're building where you are, whether that's in the EU or what that's in the US today. All right, one line to 2026, say goodbye to 2025. What's Dante's move here?
Oh boy. Gosh, that's a very hard question. The one line would be, onwards with confidence into 26.
Love it. Absolutely. Well, here's to a wonderful 2026. I am sure we will be everywhere in the world together. But honored to be in the space with you and to build. And I think it's going to be a really exciting 2026 in our space.
Same, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Likewise.
Yep.